The Ellen Show is a daytime talk show that wasn't meant to really cause so much controversy. Most daytime talk shows are usually there for promotion of an upcoming project and then a small conversation until the commercial break. Although because Ellen was a stand-up comedian for so long, her sarcastic tones and prying questions have led some celebrities' careers right into the ground. Welcome to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. I'm your host, Johnny Rogers, and before we get into today's video, if you don't want to miss another daily video from us, make sure you tap that subscribe button to join our notification squad. Now, without any further delay, let's get right into today's list of the top 10 Ellen interviews that destroyed a celebrity's career. In at number 10, Kanye West. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're a fan of Kanye West, then you will most likely hit that dislike button and comment something like, "What are you talking about? Kanye still has a career." I get that, but bear with me on this one. While he was on the show back in 2016, he went on a rant that not only left Ellen speechless, but also lasted for 6 minutes. He talked about everything as well, from race to his constant tweeting, and much of the interview wasn't even able to air on television because of just how off-brand he was for the demographic of that show. By that I mean that he said a lot of swear words. That was probably one of his more calmer moments, but just 6 months after this interview, Kanye's mental health really started to deteriorate. Dispatch audio from the day that Kanye West was hospitalized for exhaustion reveals that authorities were called to the scene of a psychiatric emergency, which makes what he said in that interview feel a little more dark than inspiring. In at number 9, Wendy Williams. Both Wendy and Ellen host daytime talk shows, so it's natural that there would be sort of a bit of tension between them, I guess, or, sibling rivalry on networks. I don't know if that's a thing, but if it is, these guys have it. Both Wendy and Ellen host daytime talk shows, so it's natural that there would be a bit of tension between them. Although Wendy Williams is typically the first to throw some shade Ellen's way and has done so numerous times. One of the more awkward times that she tried to insult Ellen was when she plugged her PETA ad by acknowledging that Ellen was vegan. Then she asked her, "How do you live without bacon?" Which forced Ellen DeGeneres to reply that she thinks pigs are smart, so that means Wendy Williams was talking about PETA in order to shame someone for being vegan. I don't really understand her. Her next Ellen insult was a bit more on the nose, but still a bad joke. When she came on the show, they played a game of heads up, and Williams got to insult Ellen just one more time. Following this, Wendy Williams' reputation definitely took a bit of a hit, but with Ellen's ship now going down, I bet Wendy is quite pleased. In at number 8, Sean Hayes. Right at the top of the episode, Will and Grace star Sean Hayes wasted no time insulting Ellen. In what is now referred to as the Battle of the Gays, Sean repeatedly calls her Helen from the moment that the episode starts, which clearly starts to bother her as it totally botches the opening dialogue for the episode. From there, it just gets worse. He tossed his ring into the mug on the table as a joke because Ellen complained that it hurt her when he tapped her knee. Sean then proceeds to pluck the ring out of his drink and then flick the excess liquids all over Ellen. Ellen then tried to transition the conversation by talking about how long Will and Grace has been on the air, and then Sean then takes another jab at Ellen by saying that it's been running longer than her own show. And sure, it's great that he's been on a long-running show, but that's about all that he's done after this disastrous interview. In at number 7, Blake Shelton. Ellen is notorious for meddling in the relationships of celebrities, and she's always prying for more personal details and desperately trying to convince her guests that they need to get married. I mean, she bought Jennifer Lopez a clock with her and A-Rod kissing on it, and shortly after that pair got married. So when Blake Shelton came on the show, she tried to do the same thing. However, unbeknownst to Ellen, Blake never received the clock at the end of the show. So when he came back on the show and Ellen asked him again if he had plans to marry Gwen Stefani, he just kind of let her have it. And I love that he called her out on using the clock as just a prop to harass her guests to get married. Although his singing career still continues, this relationship ended in divorce due to irreconcilable differences. I wonder if Ellen had a role in that. In at number 6, David Arquette. When David appeared on the Ellen Show alongside comedian Wanda Sykes, they played a very uncomfortable game of Never Have I Ever. At first, David seemed to just be really excited to be there, but as the interview segment went on, fans started to worry about him. Back in 2011, David made a very public announcement that he was checking himself into rehab for alcoholism, so when he came on the show a few years later, people were worried that he had fallen off the wagon again. As he misspoke in the segment, he pleaded with Ellen to cut that part out of the show, for which Ellen just said no. She then joked about how it was meant to be educational, and I don't know if he was drunk for this episode, but not too many big productions have taken a chance on him following this interview. In at number 5, Jennifer Lawrence. Ellen was put in an awkward situation during her interview with Jennifer Lawrence in 2012. What began as Ellen asking Jennifer about her new cat quickly spiraled into trans jokes that Ellen didn't know how to deal with. Lawrence explained that she always imagined cats as being female and dogs as being male, so when she bought her female cat and it began acting like a boy, she renamed named it to Chaz Bono. And for those of you who completely missed that jab, Chaz is the transgender son of Cher and the late Sonny Bono. What followed next was just bizarre too. They had a slideshow of the cat going that was just supposed to line up with her story, but that curveball joke really put Ellen in a weird spot, and the audience had to watch her kind of tiptoe around it into a new topic. Now, this didn't exactly end Jennifer's career as an actor, but it certainly gave her a bad reputation in Hollywood. You can consider that a career destroyed. In at number 4, Giada De Laurentiis. The 2017 cooking segment is now a viral disaster for all to watch online. It was pretty much a disaster right from the jump, and having Nicole Kidman on a guest really didn't help. Giada was teaching both Nicole and Ellen how to make some of her favorite celebrity chef recipes. At least that was the intended plan. Instead, Giada made sexual innuendos about rice balls, insinuating that Ellen's never handled anything like that, which even slightly insults Nicole Kidman, who reminds Giada that this is a family show. However, Giada doesn't stop with the insults. From there, she quickly pivoted to insulting Ellen's lack of culinary skills, even saying that her rice balls look like dog food. After those few insults, Ellen basically bailed on the entire segment. She started eating the food on the table and overall just roasting how bad it was, with Nicole Kidman joining in. And that was the last time that we heard about Giada De Laurentiis. In at number 3, Caitlyn Jenner. The conversation began very lighthearted between newly transitioned Caitlyn Jenner and Ellen. She praised Jenner for her work in the transgender movement and her importance in that role, but when she tried to make Caitlyn explain her previous views on gay marriage, things got tense. At least Caitlyn stood up for herself and explained that her opinion has changed over time. I mean, she literally changed her entire identity, and Ellen is still asking if her opinions are the same. Clearly, Jenner's views and opinions have changed slightly, but she noted that because she's a traditionalist, she still can't understand why people don't want gay marriage. I'm not saying she's right, by the way. I'm simply pointing out a moment where a celebrity insulted Ellen and it kind of trashed her career a little bit. In at number 2, Jessica Simpson. Trainwreck is perhaps the best way to sum up this interview between Jessica Simpson and Ellen. Much like when David Arquette was on the show, people also thought that Jessica was drunk. I realized that she hadn't been on the show for 4 years, but it felt like she had never been in a conversation before. She would say something, and then as Ellen was responding, Simpson would stop her, go back on what she said, and then stumble a bit, and then change her answer. It was really weird. Like, you're on Ellen. You're not being grilled by Chris Hansen in your kitchen. She must have been extremely nervous, but following this interview, her career never really saw an uptick that most hoped for after appearing on the show. The Ellen bump, I believe they call it. Last but certainly not least, in our number 1 spot, Ellen DeGeneres. Dakota Johnson's appearance on Ellen will go down in history as a key moment that led to the downfall of Ellen herself. It really opened up everyone's eyes as to how little she cares about her guests or the show itself anymore. If you don't know what happened, the last time that Dakota Johnson was on the show, Ellen reamed her out for not getting a birthday invitation, so when the following birthday rolled around, Dakota made sure to invite Ellen. Although Ellen missed the party and then had the audacity to ask her again why she never received an invite, thus leading to Dakota calling Ellen out in front of everyone for lying. Ellen was busy getting chummy with former US President George Bush during Dakota's birthday, and thus began the slow ending to her career. With that, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled Top 10 Celebrities Who Were Caught Staring. Ladybug says, Ella, when people tell me to talk slower, I tell them to listen faster. Yes, I love this. I'm doing that from now on. Listen faster. Janice Johnson says, I do love the way he delivers his words. He sounds highly intelligent. I would have cheated off his test in school. This wasn't directed at anyone in particular, but if you're talking about me, thank you. I appreciate that lovely comment, Janice. Rusty Ann Yackle says, hey, bacon buddy. Grandma says, hi. Hi, Grandma. Beezer says, thank you for the nefarious and myriad in one sentence, Johnny. Much love. I knew I was capable of doing it. It was just a matter of time. Lady Julia Infinity says, Johnny, you don't talk too fast. Don't listen to the haters. I dubbed thee Sir Johnny. Wow, Sir Johnny. That has a nice ring to it. Thank you, Lady Julia. And that has been the top 10 Ellen interviews that destroyed a celebrity's career. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to our editors for all of your hard work. If you enjoyed this video, please show us some love here by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, don't forget to leave us a comment down below with your thoughts on today's list. And for more videos like this one, all you gotta do is tap that playlist when it pops up. From Top 10 Beyond the Screen, my name is Johnny Rogers, saying until next time, stay classy.